So let's see this particular question now. So over here we are given a table, user activity table, which tracks the activities of all the users that we have for a given time frame, right? So basically it has the information of which user carried out which activity in a given time frame, which starts by the corresponding start date and whose end is given by the corresponding end date, right? And it is also given that a given user can only do one activity at the same time. They cannot do multiple activities at the same time or at the same date, right? So that is one thing which is given. And what we need to do is we need to write a solution to show the second most recent activity of each of the user, right? And also we have to handle the case that if the user has only has one activity, we just need to return that one, right? And as I said, a user cannot perform more than one activity at the same time, right? So that is entirely the problem statement. It's a pretty simple one. Now maybe what you can do is you can just try to think of a solution, pause this video, and then once you are done, you can come back and check the solution, right? Now to solve this particular question, what we can do is there are two approaches to it, right? So to find the second most recent activity of each user, that is pretty straightforward. We can just assign row numbers in the descending order of the starting date for every user, right? And then just we can just select the uh, row number equal to 2, right? That would give us, the second most recent activity of each user. But what if the user only has one activity? They don't have a second activity at all. In such case, we will not have row number equal to 2 at all, and we would not be able to include that only activity for that user and satisfy this particular condition which is given in the problem, right? So for solving that, what we can do is we can select the rows with two where conditions, right? Or maybe we can put another or condition. After we say that where my rn equal to 2, I can also say where my rn equal to 2 or the count of the total records or the total activities for that given user is equal to 1, right? So in that case also I will return that particular record for that user, right? That is one way of doing it. The second way is that I first assign the row numbers in the descending order of the start date, right? And then what I do is instead of having Rn equal to 2 in my where condition, I will say Rn is lesser than or equal to 2, right? And in that way, I will include both the records, right? The most recent activity as well as the second most recent activity, right? Now on top of this, what I can do is I can again assign my row, again assign row numbers on top of this particular data set, like the second time I can assign row numbers, and this time I can assign in the descending order of the row numbers itself, the initial row numbers, right? So that way, now I will have, for two row number, wherever the initial row number is 2, I will get the second row number as 1, and wherever my initial row number is, uh, you know, 1, I will get 2, right? And wherever there is just one record for a given user, one activity, it will be automatically 1, right? And now in my where condition, I can just select where my second row number is equal to 2, is equal to 1, I'm sorry, right? So when I say that, I will get the second most recent activity for the users who had two activities at least, and for the ones which had just one activity, I will get that only activity out of it, right? So this solution will be better because uh, right now they are asking you to return the second most recent activity for each user. Tomorrow they might ask you to also return the third most recent activity or the fourth most recent activity, right? So if I go by the method of taking the count, I will end up having lot of or conditions, like lot of or statements in my where condition, right? So that's the approach that I can follow. Now maybe let's jump to the IDE and code this solution along. All right, so now let's write the query that we just discussed. So what we will do is, first of all, we will assign row numbers in the descending order of the start date, right? So that's what I'm doing here now, row number over, and I will do it partition by uh, the username because I have to do it for every user individually, right? I will just correct the spelling. Order by start date descending, right? I can just alias this as RN and I can select it from user activity table, right? Right? Now what I can do is I can just select the row numbers which are lesser than or equal to 2, right? From this particular result set. like this. And I can say where Rn is less than or equal to 2, right? Now this will give me all the records, the most recent and the second most recent activity for all the users. And wherever there is just one activity, I will get that particular record as well, right? Now I want only the second most recent activities or the only activity of the user, right? So for that, what I can do is, first of all, I can just place these results in a CTE underscore maybe top two, right? And then what I can do is I can select on top of this CTE like this. I can say select. Uh, what I can do is I can again give row numbers, right, to this particular result. And this time I can give it over partition by, again, username, order by. Now I will use the initial row numbers and I will use them in descending order, right? Like this and like this, right? I will maybe give it as the alias as SRN, which is second row number maybe, right? And I will select it from CT underscore top two, right? That's what I will do. Now, if I run this, now you will get the intuition what we are trying to do. So for every user, I got the top two most recent, the second most recent and the most recent activities, right? And wherever there was only one activity, I just got one record, right? Now when I'm actually again assigning the second row number based on the descending order of my initial row number, the second most activity for any user will get second row number as one, right? And of course, the first most recent activity will get SRN as 2, and wherever there is just one activity for any user, the SRN will be 1, right? So now I can just select wherever my SRN equal to 1 to get the required results, right? So what I can do is I can just say select star from this particular result where my SRN is equal to 1, right? Now if I do this, of course I will have to alias this. Now if I run this, I will get the second most recent activity and the only activity of both the users each, right? Like this. So this is my final output. And of course, I can just select the required columns. I can just get rid of the RN and SRN over here from my final output. I can just say username. I need the activity. I need the start date. And I need the end date, right? That's all what I need. Now, if I run this, this is going to be my absolute final output that I need, right? So this is the simple solution of this particular problem, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.